Shalom, shalom. This is your brother Mashra Yahan coming to you with another video. Another proclamation in relation to the elementary doctrines of the Torah of Yahweh. This is going to be a much more quicker video. It's kind of returning on Exodus chapter 20, verse 2. Back to the concept of verse 2. It's just so much you can take from this particular verse, by the way. But before I get started, all praises, all glory to the Redeemer, the portion of Jacob, the portion of Yaakov, which is Yahweh. All praise to Yahweh God, Yahweh Badad. Yahweh was with us in the wilderness, and there was no strange idol with him. And I want to make a quick preface in relation to that particular title of Yahweh, increased be a set apart name, the portion of Jacob. No offense to my brothers from GMS, but I think you've been saying the wrong thing in relation to that particular verse in relation to Jeremiah chapter 51. Matter of fact, let's go to there. I think it's Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 19. Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 19. The portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the former of all things, and Israel is the rod of his inheritance. Yahweh Sabaoth is his name. I think they correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the brothers from GMS in the past have stated that Jacob is the former of all things in relation to like inventions and things that have been created, especially like the inventions that happen in America, which, listen, let's just get this clear in relation to inventions that happen in America, secular topic. But a lot of Jakes have created inventions that, if it wasn't for us, America, it wasn't for us, America's nothing. That's the facts, man. Without America, man, it's like, without America, nothing happens, man. Without us, the so-called Negro in America, America's nothing. That's the facts. We got the information and data about that. Okay, but Jacob is not the former of all things. The portion of Jacob is the former of all things, and the portion of Jacob is Yahweh Sabaoth, right? The Redeemer of Yisrael, right? Right? I think you brothers need, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought, you brothers are stating, I do need to say that Jacob is not the former of all things. Yahweh Akkad is the former of all things, okay? That's all. I just wanted to make a quick preface in relation to that particular verse. Based on that title of Yahweh is the portion of all things. All right, the Chalak, right? Chalak. Nevertheless, I'll go back. I'm getting back to this. All for the glorification of Yahweh, man. All for the glorification of Yahweh God. So if you get in this information in relation that Jacob is the former things or Yaakov is the former things, former of all things, that is incorrect. No, Yahweh is the former of all things. Okay, let's continue. Exodus chapter 20, verse 2. I am Yahweh Elohayah, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Again, bondage to what? Right? Bondage to what? Now, our forefathers were in Egypt, right? And they were in bondage. Their bondage were, the Egyptians enslaved them to build these cities, just like our forefathers, our foreparents in America did the same thing. They built up America. That's the reason why America was so great, right? It was because of our forefathers. That's the facts. Okay? If it wasn't for Hey, if you go back in history, and you go back in history in relation to cotton, cotton was king, okay? And the railroads, man, if you can look at the contribution of the railroad industry of African Americans, so-called African Americans, man, listen, man, it's just, there's no question. It's absolutely no question about it. Especially all the inventions that had to do with the so-called Negro in relation to the railroad industry. But that's not the subject that we're here to do. This is just based on, hey, matching, because, Deuteronomy chapter 28, verses 8, right? Go back to Egypt in ships, right? You even got brothers confirming that, America was Egypt. Was second Egypt. You got documentaries about it that brothers bringing out. So we got information about that. We already know that America's second Egypt, man. There's no doubt about that, man. It's facts, man. The data's there, man. It's there. But anyway, we're in the same situation that we are in today. You all right? But now look at it from a metaphysical point of view or spiritual point of view, right? When you are in your wickedness and you are in your transgression, you are a slave to sin. You're in the house of bondage of transgression and of wickedness and abomination. This is what I mean when we meditate on the 10 Commandments, right? On the commandments and the statutes and the judgments in relation to the elementary doctrines of the Torah. Right? The Torah of Yahweh. We have to understand our Savior, our Redeemer, the Most High Power, and what He's trying to do. He's trying to save us from the house of bondage, from the house of the bondage of wickedness and transgression. Right? And again, back to that particular video that I did in the past. The Most High's got to throw a stone at you to wake you up. Right? He's going to send you. He's going to distract you. Say like, hey, you need to stop doing this wickedness. Turn from your wicked ways and repent. Right? Repent. Right? But the Most High has to send a chief son, just like Moses was sent to the Israelites, right? Moses was sent to the Israelite as a stone, right? An Eban. Eban is if you go to the word Eban, right? It's the Aleph, right? It's the Bayath and the Nawan, right? Eban, chief son, right? Because Aleph is a representation of an ox head, which means power, chief. It also represents the number 1,000. Okay, I've said this I've talked about this in the past, right? Also, the word ban, the word in Yahweh Dayath, ban is the representation of the word son, right? Right? And if you add the word, if you actually add the additional letter, ha, right, is bana, right? Bana, right? Which means to build, right? Right? So think about that. So you have this stone, a bond, a chief son, right? Coming to you, giving you information, giving you like, hey, man, hey, you got to return to the Most High Power, man. You got to turn from your wicked ways, brother. Or sister, hey, sister, you got to stop being a thought. You got to turn from your wicked ways. Hey, brother, you got to start going out to these clubs, man. Stop being a whoremonger. You know that for an example. Hey, bro, you need to stop drinking that alcohol, man. Oh, hey, brother, You got to stop that New Testament. You got to get out of that New Testament, brother. Hey, sister, that Jeebus is nonsense. You need to return to the Torah. You need to seek Yahweh with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength. Not this idol of Christianity. You know, that's what the chief son is supposed to be doing. He's supposed to be telling you this. I'm telling you this. And for you New Testament Israelites out there, let's plead together. You know, let's plead together. If based on the videos that I've done, if you can tell me, if you can show me that I'm wrong based on the information I that I presented in relation to this idol of Christianity, that is this so-called Messiah, this so-called Messiah. We're not talking about the right ruler teacher, right? Who is still not to be worshipped. Okay. Oh, by the way, we already know who's the Mashiach. Yahweh has established Dawit to be his anointed one, who's going to rule over all Israelites and all the heathen, right? Go to Psalm chapter 89 and see that for yourself. Dawit is going to be the greatest king. Yahweh has established Dawit to be the greatest king to ever live, the greatest ruler to ever live. Remember, and us, those who are going to seek after the righteousness of Yahweh, right? Who's going to walk according to his commandments and walk according to his precepts and his statutes and his judgments, which if a man do, he should even live in them. We're going to be considered the branch, okay? And that's where it says in what's that particular verse? Jeremiah, when Yahweh through Jeremiah says that I will raise unto David a righteous branch. Let's go to that verse. There we go. Where's that? Where's that? Where's that? Is this it? Nope, that's not it. That's righteous. Here it is. In those days shall Judah be saved. Hold on. This is, I think I'm getting closer. Jeremiah chapter 33, verse 15. In those days and at that time will I cause the branch of righteousness to grow up unto Dawid, and he shall execute judgment and righteousness in the land. In those days shall Judah be saved, and Jerusalem shall dwell safely. And this is the name wherewith she shall be called, Yahweh our righteousness, the branch of his planting. Okay, if Isaiah chapter, let's go to Isaiah chapter 6, right? Thy people also shall be all righteous. They shall inherit the land forever. The branch of my planting, the work of my hands, that I may be glorified. Hold on. Here's another one. Hold on. If I can find it. Let me see if I can find it. Cause we gotta nail this home, man. We gotta nail this home. Trees of righteousness. Trees of righteousness. Right? Isaiah 61 verse 3. To appoint unto them that mourn in Zion, to give unto them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they might be called what? Trees of righteousness. The planting of Yahweh. Again, that he might be glorified. This has that when it's talking about the branch, it's got nothing to do with this idol Christianity. It has nothing to do with, has nothing. It has everything to do with you when you seek righteousness and truth, when you walk according to the Torah, right? If we seek to be the remnant of Yashara'el, right? The planting of Yahweh, that we need to live according to the commandments and statutes and judgments of Yahweh God. The Torah is perfect. You don't need to add anything. You don't need this New Testament dude, so-called New Testament dude, this Greek Testament, this disgusting doctrine that's constantly presented to you, right? That you need to perform. You don't need to perform that. You have the Torah. The Torah is enough. It's complete. You don't need to add anything to it, right? Remember, Noah was righteous. Noah was perfect in his generation, complete. Okay? And yes, they had the Torah too. Noah had the Torah. Right? He lived the commandments and statutes and judgments of the Most High, as well as Abraham. Right? Remember, the Torah is everlasting and everlasting. Right? His righteousness, right? The righteousness of Yahweh is the Torah, if you didn't know that. Right? When in the book of Proverbs, when it talks about the wisdom, that's the Torah, okay? Remember, Torah is is personified as a woman, a mother, right? Just like wisdom, right? You know what I'm saying? Let's go back to Exodus chapter 20. So all praise to Yahweh Khan. It's all based on the spirit of Yahweh right here. I'm working from here. But understanding these particular things in relation to the Torah, there's so much wisdom in relation to the Torah. It's complete. It maketh wise the simple as well, right? It make it wise the simple, right? So when you in the Torah, you start to see, hey man, this New Testament thing ain't something ain't right with this New Testament. You know, something ain't right with this New Testament. You know, the stuff that Paul is talking about. You know, sooner or later, you New Testament Israelites, the more you go in there, you be like, and you spend a lot more time in the Torah. Spend more time in the Torah. I guarantee you're gonna say, something ain't right with this New Testament. I guarantee you. If New Testament Israelites was to spend just like a month, just going on, maybe like for the 6 months out the year, just no going to the New Testament, just look at the Tanakh, go over not even the Tanakh, just the Torah. Just the Torah. Let's go over the Torah and look at that. They will have a better understanding, and they will say to themselves, hey, man, something ain't right with this New Testament. I don't think this New Testament is true, man. They're going to tell themselves that, right? They're going to tell themselves that. The Torah will drive out that nonsense, because the Torah is a force. It's not just a book that you and letters that you read, right? Paul with his nonsense talking about that the letter. The Torah is not just a letter. The Torah is a force. The Torah is a living entity, right? It's the personification of a mother, not just a woman, but a mother. You know what I'm saying? Where her delight is to the sons of men, right? Proverbs chapter 8. You know what I'm saying? So the more we go over the Torah, a lot of washing is going to be going through your mind and through your spirit and through your soul, right? When you concentrate on the Torah, when you Go over the book of Leviticus, right? Right. Like actually go over the book of Leviticus. You can go over it via audiobook wise. And you get a better understanding of Leviticus. You'll be able to see and recognize how unclean you are. And you'll be like, man. And realize how much better we could be doing and how we can stay clean before Yahweh. And how clean Yahweh is. Right? How much cleaner he is than us. You know what I'm saying? You will be able to see that and recognize that. I mean, I can just go on and on in relation to the book of Leviticus, right? Right? But the book of Leviticus is not, these, when I talk, my last video, I talked about the museum. This is something that we can study more on, provide more information on in relation to how we practically live the book of Leviticus as Israelites today, right? Without a animal sacrifice, right? Hosea chapter 3, right? Matter of fact, there is a way of living that, all right? Let's go to Psalm chapter 141. This is how we live the sacrificial life. Okay? Psalm 141, verse 1. A Psalm of David. Yahweh, I cry unto thee, make haste unto me. Give ear unto my voice when I cry unto thee. Right? Verse 2. Let my prayer be set forth before thee as incense. Let my prayer be set forth before thee as incense, and the lifting up of my hands as the evening sacrifice. Right? So your sacrifice that you give is your prayers, your supplications, your lifting of your hands, your praise. We need to work. When I say we, that's including myself in this. One of the things that I'm focusing on in relation to the Most High, right, is how do I increase the praises, like my mouth be filled with the praises of Yahweh, my mouth filled with phrases of honor towards Yahweh, my mouth filled with the righteousness of Yahweh, which is the Torah, oh, by the way. The truth and the testimony of Yahweh, which is the Torah, oh, by the way. Right? And the contemplations, right? And in my mind, all right, the contemplations on his wondrous works. And see, the Psalms talks about that on a consistent basis, especially David, right? This is how we stay in unison with Yahweh. This is how we stay in alignment with Yahweh. This is how we feel, this is how we express adoration for our power. Either Yahweh Khan, Yahweh Badad. You know what I'm saying? So we ask well, how do we actually give a sacrifice? You can by prayer and prayer and supplication and lifting up thy hands and praying depending on your location, praying towards Zion, right? Praying towards Yerushalayim or Jerusalem, right? There's also sacrificial in living, right? Right? So, not speaking wickedness, right? Asking Yahweh, for example, Psalm 141 verse 3, set a watch, O Yahweh, before my mouth. Keep the door of my lips. Why? So you won't say anything wicked. You know what I'm saying? So you can say all things that's righteous, right? The one that keep keeping the door at thy mouth could be one of the angels guarding over you, making sure you say the right things, making sure that you're doing the right things, right? Right? And there's so many different malaik or angels of Yahweh. Malaike Yahweh, the angels of Yahweh. There's so many of them. Malaike Alahayam. There's so many of them. So you may need a different angel for a different particular purpose. But when you're staying in Yahweh, right? When you're in the Torah, when you're in the commandments and statutes and judgments of the Most High power, right? The Most High can equip you whatever you need. Hold on. I'll show you. For he shall give his angels charge over thee to keep thee in all thy ways. Again, for he shall give his angels charge over thee to keep thee in all thy ways. Let's see if this is other precept. The angel of Yahweh encampeth round about them that fear him and delivereth them. You hear that? This was what happened when you seek Yahweh, when you walk according to his Torah, when you keep his commandments and his statutes. Notice that this is happening without that so-called New Testament. This is happening without this person called, whatever he's called, man. Whatever y'all want to say. Jeebus, Yeshua, Yahushua, whatever. Yahushua. I don't care what y'all call him. Make him black. Make him have melanin skin. Make him Caucasian. Make him look pale. Make him got yellow skin. I don't care what you do. Right? His house of learning is leprous. His house is filled with leprosy. And you should break down the house, the stones of it, and the timber thereof, and all the mortar of the house. It's been confirmed that it's unclean, man. It's unclean. The house of Yahushua and his disciples, right? Their house of learning, it is unclean. And you shall break down the house, right? And the stones of it, and the timber thereof, and all the mortar of the house. You must do it continually, and I will do it continually. I will be as Hushai, the archive, right? The friend of David, right? Remember, his son tried to subject the kingdom. Is not this Yahushua character? Well, they're working on behalf of Yahushua, saying that he's the son of David, right? And that he's the one that's going to be coming back, right? He's the one that's going to be ruling over the earth, right? By the authorization of Yahweh. Nonsense. It's David. David has received the authorization from Yahweh, right? Again, y'all don't understand. See, Yahweh is so amazing, right? He knew that all of this was going to come up because because these New Testament Israelite, their savior is not Yahweh, by the way, if you didn't know. Their savior is this Yeshua or Yahushua, whatever y'all want to call him. Jeebus, Yeshua, Yahushua, I don't care what you call him, right? He's your Absalom, if you didn't know that. But see, because Hosea chapter 3, it says that the Israelites are going to seek Yahweh and David in the latter days. That's what it says. Okay? That's what it says. That's what it says. But to my brothers and sisters, when you walk the Torah and you seek Yahweh God, to seek according to his commandments and his statutes and his judgments, you're going to drive out that wicked doctrine constantly, continually. You're going to say, yep, this so-called New Testament, the Greek Testament, the strong delusion. We'll go to matter of fact, let's go to Isaiah 28. Right? Woe to the crown of verse 1. Woe to the crown of pride, to the drunkards of Ephraim, whose glorious beauty is a fading flower, which are on the head of the fat valleys, of them that are overcome with wine, the yayin, right? From an unused root, meaning to effervescence, wine as fermented by implication, intoxication. Remember, wine doesn't necessarily actually mean the actual drink wine, fermented through grapes. This has not necessarily that. It's the philosophies or the doctrine or teaching, right? Behold, Adonai hath a mighty and strong one, which as a tempest of hail and destroying storm, as a flood of mighty waters overflowing, shall cast down to the earth with the hand. The crown of pride, the drunkards of Ephraim, shall be trodden under feet. Okay, let's go down to let's go down to, listen to this. This is Isaiah chapter 20 verse 7, right? But they also have erred through wine and through strong drink are out of the way. The priest and the prophet have erred through strong drink. They are swallowed up of wine. They are out of the way through strong drink. They err in vision. They what? They err in vision. Okay, when you in that New Testament nonsense, the yayin, right? Wasn't the Jebus considered a wine bibber? Huh? Wasn't he considered a wine bibber? They err in vision. They stumble in judgment. For all tables are full of vomit and filthiness, so that there is no place clean. Again, the strong delusion, the wine, the yayin that they're constantly drinking, right? Hold on, give me 1 second. Genesis chapter 10. Why am I going to the nations descended from Noah? Why am I going to that particular verse? Let's go to Japheth, Yawan, right? Verse 2. The sons of Japheth, Gomer, and Magog, and Madai, and Yawan, or Yavan, and Tubal, and Meshech, and Tyrus, right? Let's go to Yawan. Yawan, right? Probably from the same as H3196, effervescing, that is hot and active. Yawan, the name of son of Yoktan, and of the race Ionians, that is Greece, right? H3196. Yayin is what? Yayin, from an unused root meaning effervesce. Wine as fermented by implication, intoxication, banqueting, wine bibber. What? Wine bibber. Wasn't JC considered a wine bibber? Last time I checked. Wine bibber. Let's see if we can pull that up. Wine bibber. The Son of Man came eating and drinking, and they say, behold, a man gluttonous and a wine bibber. Right? A wine bibber. So, man, if y'all want to, so it is what it is. But for why, what's the meaning of all this, Masharayah? What mean ye the commandment and the statutes and the judgment? This is what it means. When you're in Yahweh, walking according to his Torah, meditating on his commandments and his statutes and his judgment. Remember, Yahweh told Joshua, right? He told the right Yahweh Shah Ban Nawan, right? Who was the assistant to Moses, right? He said, hey, the book of the Torah shall not depart from thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate in it day and night, that thou may observe to do according to all that is written in it. For then you will make your way prosperous, and then you will have good success. Okay? So that is our strength as Israelites, right? Our strength is the Torah. Our strength is walking according to the Torah of Yahweh. And if they speak not according to this word, if they speak not according to this Torah, right, to the law and testimony. And what is the law and testimony? Is it not the Torah? But some of these Israelites, these New Testament Israelites in particular, the of the tribe of Ahithophel, right? The brothers of folly, they're gonna continue to refer to this New Testament. If they refer to that New Testament, they're going off. Okay, they are completely going off. They're in the strong delusion. That's facts. They're in the yayin, right? They're effervescent. They're the effervescent squad, the effervescent crew that continually vomits on the table. No place is clean, right? I told you that their house of learning is filled with leprosy. It is a fretting leprosy in the house. It is unclean. And he that go into the house shall be unclean. You know what I'm saying? And he that eateth in the house shall be unclean. You know what I'm saying? So, going back to verse 2. This is just verse 2. And we didn't even get to the precepts. I didn't even get to the precepts. In relation to this, in relation to Yahweh bringing us out of Egypt, bringing us out of the mind state of Egypt, right? The place of being cramped. Masarayim, right? Masawar, in the sense of a limit, right? Right? Hemming, a mound, besiegers, a siege, distress, bulwark, right? You're besieged in Egypt, right? You're in the sense of, remember, you're in the copper state. You're profaned. You're base. You're filthy. That's what it means, man. That's why you got to sacrifice on that altar, on the copper altar, so you can burn that up, so you can eliminate the baseness of you. And then you can go into the next step, right? You can go into the next step from Egypt to the wilderness so you can receive the commandments. See, you can't receive the commandments in Egypt. You can't receive the 10 commandments in Egypt. You can't receive the bread, the manna, right? You can't receive the manna, right? The manna gives you the ability to ask questions. What is that, right? That's what our forefathers did when they saw that. It is manna. What is that? You're asking questions now. You're starting to think. You know what I'm saying? When you get into the wilderness, when you make that sacrifice, then you can start asking those type of questions. What mean ye the commandments and statutes and judgment? What is the purpose of this particular commandment? Right? You can ask questions like that. You can see what it means, right? That's the things you gotta, right? And then eventually Yahweh will be able to guide you into those answers. Whether it's that sending a chief son unto you, one of his chief sons to you, to break down a particular precept, right? A particular law or commandment on why we're supposed to do it, right? Or as you continue to study and meditate and fast and pray, right? The Most High will send you one of his angels to kind of give you that understanding. It can be a number of things, but you can't receive instructions in Egypt. If you're circling around that altar, you're not going on that altar. You can't receive instructions, right? You can't praise Yah in that particular sense when you're in that state, right? This is the metaphorical understanding, right? This is metaphorical, right? Right? You got to get out of Egypt so you can receive the commandments, right? Right. This is Genesis chapter 17, verse 7 through 8. This has to do with the covenant made with Abraham, my forefather, right? And I will establish my covenant. This is Yahweh. And I will establish my covenant between me and thee and thy seed after thee and their generations for an everlasting covenant, to be a God unto thee and to thy seed after thee. And I will give unto thee and to thy seed after thee the land wherein thou art a stranger, all the land of Canaan, for an everlasting possession. And I will be their power, right? Powers, right? So, and this was sealed through the covenant of circumcision, right? This is why it's important to understand that. You understand the breakdown and you understand the critical essence. So it can be a memorial of, and then eventually you can establish a museum within your mind, right? You can have exhibits within thy mind or for thy people, right? So this is how we have to think. Let's go back. This is how we have to think. We have to think in that particular sense, right? And remember, precept upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little. You go to Bible Hub, BibleHub.com, or get you an e-sword on your app. You can go through each verse, write it down, scribe it down, seek Yahweh so he can give you understanding, right? That's my recommendation. You know what I'm saying? And any questions, I'm here. You know what I'm saying? No problem. But nevertheless, this is we got to go through the elementary doctrines, because if we can't keep the 10 Commandments, man, I don't I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I don't even know what to tell myself. If we can't keep this, if we can't do what the Torah requires and understand who is our father, who is making this covenant with us. Yahweh Khan is making that covenant with us. Yahweh conducted a marriage. Go to the book of Exodus chapter 24. Read Exodus 24. When the blood was sprinkled on our people, right? The covenant was made between them. And that, excuse me, that we were supposed to do the word that our forefathers was supposed to fulfill the commandments and the ordinances of Yahweh, right? That was their role. When they went into that covenant, that marriage, right? That contract with Yahweh, right? Because that particular promise made by Yahweh to Abraham, right? That he will be our Elohim. So, I think I went on a little bit too long. Salaki, everyone. But I just want to all praise to Yahweh Khan, Yahweh Badad. All praise to his set apart name. Keep the faith, brothers and sisters out there. We're getting closer and closer. We're getting closer and closer, and it's going to be very critical as we continue to study the scriptures that we understand what's going to be what's happening, what's going to be happening in the future, and understand that Yahweh has given us an expected end. Okay, so with that said, shalom to you all. May you continue in the word of Yahweh, seeking after Yahweh, giving him praises, and praying unto him. so you may be a better servant unto him. And with that, that's all I have. Shalom.